So, how did my husband and I end up living together after only 6 weeks of dating and getting married in 10 months? Stay tuned to the end to hear all about our whirlwind of a love story. Hi, sunflowers! Dr. Aisha here, bringing sunshine to your day. How are you? So I'm so excited to share our love story. It's actually our anniversary today. Hi, honey! Happy, 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 happy anniversary! I love you so, so much. So, how did it all start? Well, actually, that morning that I messaged my husband, I was listening to talk radio, and it was all about, is it okay for a woman to message a guy online? Is that totally fine? And pretty much the verdict was, and the research showed that women who reach out to men and send them the first message on online dating tend to actually find way better partners. They tend to find better caliber partners and tend to find the kind of guy that they're actually looking for. And it's like, duh, we go after everything else that we want in life, right? So why not look at a guy's profile and see whether or not, at least on paper, he meets our criteria. So that's exactly what I did. And my husband, when I saw his profile, never met this man, I saw his profile, and he said, can't stand white dreads. It's not okay for white dreads to happen. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this guy is bold. He's upfront. He's saying how he actually feels about the world and about his values. And I was like, he must also be anti-racist, right? So you know what? I was like, this is interesting. So I was like, I'm just going to message him. And I messaged him. And I was like, hey, saw your comment about white dreads. Just wondering if it's ever okay. And we went back and forth a little bit. And he was like, no. White dreads are never okay. They're never actually really into the culture. And we just started talking about everything under the sun pretty much from there. We just hit it off, and we just started talking about race and other things. And he asked me out a few days later, and we went to go get a drink at the Dirty Truth in Northampton. And we just had the best time. Sparks were flying. We were, ended up smooching a little closer together. We sat at the bar on the high table, and, we just met for a drink, but we ended up actually having lunch. We ordered a chicken sandwich. We split it. We shared food on our first date, our first meeting. And it was just amazing. We just had laughs and ate together, and it was really, really fun. And then at the end of the day, it was a hug. It was a nice hug. He came down, and he's so tall. He came down and gave me a hug. And he said, I'll see you soon. And he meant it because he was so good at booking the next date. Like a couple of days later, or it could even been the next day. 1 to 2 days later, he was like trying to book me for the weekend and seeing what's going on for the upcoming Saturday. So we saw each other 1 to 2 times a week, and it was just so exciting and so much fun. So a month in, he actually asked me to be his girlfriend, and that was really exciting. I said yes. Actually, the night that he asked me to be his girlfriend, that night was my birthday party. And so he made food for my birthday party, and he also met my mom that night because it was my birthday party, so my mom was there and close friends. And it's really funny because I think it was like on our second or third date, we were just kidding around about sharing bank accounts. It was like crazy. And he actually brought up some mutual friends, and we didn't realize they were mutual friends, but he started talking about them, and then we started just bringing up other people, and we realized we had mutual friends and acquaintances. Duh, that made so much more sense, just because we went to the same graduate school at different times. He finished earlier than me, but we both went to UMass Amherst, and so we realized that we had friends in common, which really was wonderful because it just made me feel closer to him initially, and it made me feel just more like I could trust him just because his really good friend, his best friend at the time, was one of my writing buddies. And yeah, we just had mutual friends. So that felt really good. So yeah, a month in, asked me to be his girlfriend. And so we were official. And then actually, a little bit after my birthday, I ended up going to Mexico. I had planned to go to Mexico with a friend. Mind you, everyone, this is March of 2020. Okay, this is March of 2020. It's like early, my birthday's March 4th, and then I left a few days later to go to Mexico. So I went to Mexico, came back because I heard Boston closed its bars. And I was like, okay, if Boston closed their bars, like when I left, people were talking about it, but even Carlin Stockton was like, oh, this is nothing to really worry about. And so, yeah, but things really changed very rapidly. And so I was like, oh my gosh, they're shutting down bars in Boston. Like, this is serious. And also, I was like, Trump cannot stand Mexicans. Like, he's going to try to shut down this border as quickly as possible. So I left a day early and came home. And I had to actually stop by his place. He was distant. And pretty much said, you know, I spoke to my doctor and my boss, and I think that you should quarantine. And I was like, okay, yeah. And I was like, well, bye, see you later. And I just got in my car and I left and went home, and was just, you know, the seriousness of this whole situation was sinking in. And at the time, I was just really, I had built so much of my life around self-love and just really letting the things that were for me come to me, and just attracting that, whatever was for me. And so I was just like, oh, this is really a weird, crazy time. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna quarantine. And he called me the next day and was like, hey, I apologize for yesterday. I felt like maybe I was a little short. And, you know, the thing is, it's scary. And I was like, yeah, this whole situation is scary. And to make a long story short, he asked me if I wanted to quarantine with him. And it was just the sweetest thing that anyone has ever asked me. And it just really made me realize, only like 6 weeks in at this point, but that he really cared for me, and that he really, at the very least, did not want to let this go. So I said yes. I was willing to quarantine with him, and about an hour and a half later, he was over with his first duffel bag, and the rest is history. So 6 weeks in, my sweetheart and I ended up actually living together. So yeah, I mean, he still had his place and I still had mine. So, you know, we always had a place to go back to, but we started living together and doing a week at my place, a week at his place, and quarantining together. In June, we ended up going away for his birthday and doing it was like a hotel only beach. It was a private beach, and so much happened during that trip. We just really fell deeper into love, and he actually posted about me to social media for the first time. We actually started thinking about babies after that trip. He ended up proposing in September, a few months later. At the beach, we went back to the same place and had a beach vacation. That month, actually, after we were engaged, we actually started our IVF journey together. We are still on that journey, and we just know that we're going to be parents. So it was so romantic just being around a place that we love, the water. We love the water so dearly, and falling asleep, hearing the waves crash into each other. It was really the perfect place for us to get engaged. He did it. He proposed the first day that we were there, so it was really lovely. We got to celebrate for the rest of the weekend. He took me to a really super romantic dinner right after. The ring I'm wearing now is actually my wedding ring. I got two, what we might call engagement rings, but this is actually my wedding ring. So I never got a band. I just wanted a second ring. So yeah. But actually the ring that he proposed to me with, I'll show a photo of it. He designed it. He worked with the jewelry company and designed it for me, and it's my birthstone. We eloped in December of 2020, so I'm recording this on our actual anniversary, and everything has been better since I met Carlin. We have just had a whirlwind of a romance and so much abundance since we met. That January after we met, he got a full-time position running a writing center in Boston. Shortly thereafter that, I got offered a wonderful position in New Orleans where we live now, and I negotiated a couple higher, and of course they were on board with that because he's amazing. We got offered a double tenure track position, and so we feel really blessed to be in our new city and to be just having this wonderful life of abundance together. We have 2 homes. We bought our 2nd home last year. We are loving the food and the wonderful students and feel so blessed to have this couple hire at an HBCU. So this is actually our 2nd anniversary. We're going out tonight. I'll show photos in this video of some of the action from tonight. This is some of the photos from last night. We've been celebrating all weekend, so we had, you know, a pre-anniversary fun yesterday. And in this February, we celebrate 3 years since our first date, and so we are just still so madly in love and tell each other every day how much we value each other, how much we're grateful for each other. And I just want you to know that, like, oh, had some tough times before Carlin. And if you have not found love yet, honey, it is out there for you. It is out there. I just need you to believe it. You need to believe it for yourself and just live in the moment. The only time that we have is in the moment. So until you meet your person, and you will meet your person, just love yourself, just be grateful for yourself and enjoy yourself. I was taking myself out on my own dates before Carlin and I met. And I knew he was going to come into my life. I manifested him. I knew he was going to come. But until then, I really enjoyed, first and foremost, my relationship with myself and just tried to get even closer to the people in my life who I already loved. And that continues right now. We have an unlimited amount of love. So yeah, Merry Christmas, sunflowers. Happy New Year. I hope that you enjoyed this video. It really so good to talk to all of you. I love making videos. Thank you for helping me to build this community. Love and light, sunflowers. Love and light. Love you all.